Leader Thune, thank you for sitting down with us. Talk about some of the accomplishments that you're proudest of as Senate Majority Leader in the first 100 now plus days of the Trump administration.
Well, I tell people, Lara, that for better or worse, the Senate spends about 2/3 of its time on personnel. So a lot of it is getting the president's team through the process. The nominations come through there. If you can believe this, there are 1,100 executive branch positions that come through the Senate for confirmation. And then you have all the judges on top of that. We worked really hard at getting the cabinet through the process at the fastest rate in 20 years. We've cast way more votes in the Senate than any Senate at this point going back to the Reagan administration. We were in session for 10 consecutive weeks, which hasn't happened since 2009. So the pace is we're moving at a rapid pace. And next up is, of course, reconciliation.
Tell me about unifying the Senate Republicans in order to get through all of those Senate confirmations.
We want to be good partners to President Trump and make sure that he has the people he wants. We push really hard, and a lot of our members, obviously, some of these things, they take time, and of course we're getting no cooperation from the Democrats. They're doing everything they can to obstruct and block and delay, and sometimes it takes multiple votes on the floor. We've worked overnight a couple times. We've worked on weekends a couple of times. There is great unity. President Trump and his team, Speaker Johnson in the House, Senate Republicans realize that if we're going to use this 2 years for our majorities, hopefully four, to the ultimate advantage, we got to be able to work together in a way that enables us to get a lot of that agenda across the finish line. You know, we've always got to be able to get to at least 50, and then if we get to 50, we can have J.D. Vance, the Vice President, break the tie in the Senate. We've gotten several bills across the finish line. We're undoing a lot of the heavy regulatory burden of the Biden administration. It's a work in progress. It's never easy. Legislative bodies, by definition, it's hard, arduous work. But we know where we want to get, and what the American people voted for is an agenda that we are all on the same page with.
The president also plays a role in everything that happens here in Washington, D.C. Talk a little bit about where he's most impactful.
He's enormously influential in both the House and the Senate. And when it comes time for tough votes, and sometimes there's a certain art form to getting everybody pulling in the same direction, but he has a gift for that. And obviously, when necessary, the Speaker deploys him. We deploy him in talking to individual senators and House members. And so when it comes to getting his agenda across the finish line, I think he understands and realizes, as does his team at the White House, that he is the most influential figure in seeing that happens.
Our big, beautiful bill. Fortunately, we have the House, we have the Senate, and we may or may not have a couple of grandstanders, I don't know, but if we do, it would be good if you could work on anybody. I mean, if I were a Democrat, I'd be voting for it 100%, because I think it's very dangerous politically not to vote for it.
What's your take on the behavior, by and large, of the Democrat Party?
I just think they're really floundering. As a party, they're looking for an identity, and they've gotten so far out of the political mainstream. And so now their only thing really is, I call it, everybody calls it Trump derangement syndrome. And so a lot of the antics that they pull on the floor are designed to be performative and juices their political contributions and giving. But at the end of the day, it doesn't get anything done for the American people.
What should the American people be paying attention to that the U.S. Senate, led by you, is focusing on coming up next?
The most immediate thing is this budget reconciliation bill, which will incorporate the issue of, we talked about energy dominance, energy independence. I would say energy dominance more so than just independence. Tax relief. There are some priorities the president wants included in addition to extending the 2017 tax policy. We've got to get serious about spending reduction, and so we're having a very, very vigorous conversation about how to accomplish that within the construct of the reconciliation bill. It'll have a generational investment in border security, and it will have a significant investment in military readiness, which is long overdue.
Senate Majority Leader, that's a big role. That's a big title. Is it what you thought it would be?
My whole idea in public life is you just want to serve causes that are greater than yourself. You want to live a life of purpose. And I feel like that what we're doing right now is very purposeful. And so there is satisfaction in that. It's hard. And you feel the weight of it, obviously, just the management of the floor on a daily basis, and particularly with all the shenanigans the Democrats are trying to pull and how they're trying to slow and stop what we're trying to get done. You have to be, you've got to be very persistent and tough. But that's what we're committed to.
And all that hard work has to happen somewhere. So Leader Thune gave us a tour of his historic office.
So here we are.
Yeah. Let's see.
you.
Thank you very much. Wow. This is quite an office.
This has a War of 1812 story behind it. The fireplace was cracked at that time, and that
Look at the crack.
is
There's the crack right
still
there.
exists today. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. This looks like a guy who may have been in South Dakota at one time.
We did an online contest to name him, and but the winning one was Murdo, which is my hometown. It's a little town in the middle of South Dakota.
Nice.
So this is Murdo. And but yeah, they are a very majestic animal. And if you ever visit South Dakota, particularly the Black Hills, there's a place called Custer State Park where the buffalo still roam freely.
Nice.
During the certain seasons of the year.
Well, I feel like a lot of people will be descending on South Dakota, maybe one particular area come July 4th of next year.
Yes, that's
I think
right.
there might be something going on there.
It'll be a big deal.
There will be a big event there coming
Yeah.
up for the 250th birthday of America, right?
And Mount Rushmore is really cool. President Trump was there 7, 8 years ago and had a wonderful event. But yeah, I think it'd be good to do a redo of that. This is the office of the Republican leader, and it used to be in the old days, they switched them when the majority switched. But what's happened in more recent years is the Democrats, Schumer has kept his office on the other side of the Capitol, and this has kind of maintained the Republican office.
They got to keep you guys
Of course.
separated?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Go to your respective corners and towel off and then come out and duke it out. This is my grandfather and great uncle,
Oh, wow.
1906 in South Dakota. They worked on the railroad. When they came to this country, they started a merchandising company together, which later became a hardware store. So Thune Hardware in Mitchell. And then my grandfather came back to the little town I grew up in and took over the hardware store there. So anyway, that's kind of how they all got here. Right.
And this is all history here. This
Yeah,
is beautiful.
it is.
And then you have the view out here on the National Mall.
If you're a runner, if you start here at the Capitol and go down around the Washington Monument and back along the mall, it's about 3 miles.
Okay.
And if you go beyond, you can see the Lincoln Memorial beyond that.
Yep.
And if you go down and circle the Lincoln Memorial and come back, starting here, it's about 4.7.
Oh,
it's
we've got
almost 5.
all of our runs mapped out.
It's-
Next time, I think we're going to have to do a run together.
Yeah.
And he should know. In 2012, Runner's World magazine named Leader Thune the fastest man in Congress.
So, Leader Thune, do you still feel like you hold that title?
I've always said when they describe you as the fastest man in Congress, that's like being the best surfer in Kansas. It's a nice title to have, but I'm not sure how much it really means. My knees are going, and so I'm having a hard time. I probably wouldn't be able to defend that title today. I think it's important to stay challenged, and I think being physically fit helps with all the other issues that you deal with on a daily basis.
Well, Senate Majority Leader Thune, thank you so much for sitting down with us. Good luck with everything you've got coming up. I tell you what, everybody here on Capitol Hill on the Republican side is making us very proud, so thank you.
Appreciate that. Thanks.